What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the finals of the FNCS. It's day number 2. Yesterday set the stage for us coming into today's 6 matches. And after those 6 matches, we will potentially crown brand new FNCS Trios champions. Or could a trio come back, get the back-to-back dub, hold their title? Oh, baby, today's storylines are about to be absolutely insane. It is a pleasure to be with you guys, as always. And what's going on, Party Royale? It's super fun getting to hang out with you guys as well. Make sure to use your favorite emotes and enjoy the show. As always, I can't do this alone. I need the help from some of the very best in the world. It's Reese and it's Levin 2K. Boys, this is it. After 6 matches, we'll know who our champions are. How are you guys feeling? You gotta let me know.
Look, I'm through the roof excitement, you know, as always. But yesterday, the first game started off so hot. I'm thinking we're going to see exactly the same thing today, and it's just going to continue to get better and better up to that final game where we finally get to crown our champions.
Reese, don't even mention heat. Right now in the UK, the sun is shining, the weather's sweet. I'm excited for some Fortnite. You know what I mean? I'm just excited for some Fortnite. It kind of hurts that this is the final day, right? Because you want it to continue. If it could just go on endlessly, I would do that. But it is the final day. We are going to be crowning champions. And, you know, Zeke, like you said, potentially back-to-back champions. Who knows? I'm getting ahead of myself. But look, can't wait for the games.
Oh, man, we're going to get there in just a little bit. The battle bus is getting all warmed up for us. So let's talk about a few things before we take our seats. Now, as you guys know, we're starting the day off in Europe. We've got 6 matches here. If you like what you're watching, then don't forget NA East later on in the day. 6 matches. NA West is our final stop for the last 6, and that will close Chapter 2, Season 6. Now, let's take a look at the overall tournament format bracket. What has led us to this moment in time? Open qualifier round, semifinals rounds, a reboot round, and now finals. Yesterday, 6 matches. Today will be the last 6. Reese, this is it. We've got our 33 trios, the very best of the best. And this is that last shot at greatness.
We do indeed. And if you want to know how our top 33 teams made it here, you can see on the left the full way of how they qualified here. So 3, obviously, all full breakdown. 2 days of competition, like we've already mentioned. We saw already 6 games yesterday. There will be 6 games today. We will be recapping yesterday's 6 games a little bit later as well. So look out for that. Remember, these points will be cumulative. So over the 6 games yesterday, those points will carry forward to today, and it'll be the total points who will be crowned our champions. And that's it. Not only are they champions, they managed to get the Axe of Champions as well for placing first. And obviously, beautiful prize money from the top all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, and these next 6 games is a race to be on top at that end so you can get that Axe of Champions. We've seen some crazy things over the past couple of weeks. Even yesterday, right, we've seen crazy games happen. First game of the day, a 54-point game from No Riley, Reason, and Badil, right? They had a victory hour with 12 eliminations, you know, plenty of points up for grabs. And, you know, we're eventually going to show you guys the leaderboards, but, you know, spoiler alert, there are fine margins, very fine margins. So the ability to just collect points in any way possible is going to be huge for the games today.
Man, and we cannot forget what's on the line. Prize money across 7 regions, but deep in EU, the prize money is absolutely insane. $300,000 for the trio that comes out on top. That final trio left standing, but they will also take home the Axe of Champions. If you've never heard me say it before, well, guess what? It's gold, baby. We've digitized it. We put it in Fortnite. Champions can wield. That's right. There's only 3 in game at the moment, and only them in every single one of these regions. Now, speaking of these regions, guess what? Yesterday in Middle East, we got to crown the first set of champions, but Asia and OCE, their games are done, which means it's time to crown new champions there in both of these regions. So, congratulations, Alan, Shamoki, and Force, 294 points, 2 victory royales, 53 eliminations, and Reese, an average placement of 11.33.
Now, these guys were really impressive across all the 12 games, across the 2 days we had, because Asia was probably one of the closest regions coming out of the end of that first day total. There was, I think, 11 points, maybe 20 points between first all the way down till 12th. And look who was in the first place. It was Alan, Shamoki, and Force at the end of first day, and they managed to just maintain that all the way through, placing first into the final game, and they are now our champions. So huge congratulations to these guys.
And as we take a look at the top 10 for the day, or for the 2 days at Asia, it's important to note, right, the top 3 in every single region's finals at the end of the 2 days will auto qualify for the next season's finals. So you can take a look there in second place, Signal, Fousey, Josia, they will auto qualify and they will be playing together, assuming they stick with each other, right? As soon as they know they're up in the next final. Same thing could be said for Ragus, Moffin, and Curran. And Moffin, right, he won FNCS 2 seasons ago. This season only able to get third, but look, they have another shot to play in next season's finals, and I'm sure he'll be looking to reclaim that axe.
Yeah, hey, I'm not going to complain about a third by any means, but if we move over to OCE, our other region that's already wrapped up as well, Muzz, Looter, and Speedy, the TNA trio, are now 2 times champions. That is back-to-back champions. They won last season in Season 5. They've come back in Season 6. And yes, 2-time champions. So what an accomplishment from these guys. They basically did it in exactly the same format as well. They were roughly 40 points behind at the end of day 1 and managed to have a huge comeback. And when you see the leaderboards, you'll see how far ahead they ended up being. Incredible performance from the TNA trio.
Yeah, big day for them to be back-to-back in such a phenomenal fashion. You can see that 79 eliminations, more than anybody else in the region. You know, they came out hot like the UK weather today, and you know, no surprise that they were able to walk away with that FNCS championship. Bathan, Zedox, and CEO in second. They finished day 1 in first place, but they weren't able to hold on to that top spot. But it's all right, because, you know, second place isn't too shabby, and they will be able to play with each other next season, as once again, that top 3 does auto-qualify for the next finals. Jinx, Alec, and Worthy in 7th, they definitely would have wanted to have a better performance, right? These are some of the premier names out of Oceania. But look, once again, you know, top 10 isn't too bad. They're going to be able to hit the drawing board, come back next season even stronger for the next time round.
And coming into day number 2, Resguard and Dreda, Mr. Savage. But right behind them, Hen, Janice, Chapix, your trios champion from last season. These 2 trios trading places all day yesterday, boys. And now they're looking to make this an all-out brawl.
Yeah, only 1 point between them and 13 points between first down to 5th. This is an absolute battle right now for the championship. This is set up so good coming into the games you're going to watch today, because this is going to be so incredibly tense. We already know there are so many possibilities for team going all the way through. And I think touched on this yesterday a little bit. I think we doubted Hen, Janice, and Europe, but maybe not even that, the world.
Yeah, look, you know, these guys silenced all the doubters they had, most definitely. You know, people expect teams that are contested to not do as well, and they finished the first day in second place, and you know, they're poised to finish in first place as long as they have a good day, right? Just 1 point behind first. It's going to be a race to see who can finish that at the end of the day. But many other of these teams are still in great positions, right? The likes of Flickenlass and Thomas, who are heavy favorites, they still have a shot today. It's going to be about being able to get those points on the boards. Even if we look at the second page, right, the teams who are 11th to 20th, a lot of talent here who has the ability to potentially make a comeback, right? You take a look at the likes of Kinsel, Idrop, and Wakey, you know, Joe Stompy and Shadow, who literally won a game yesterday but weren't able to do anything else out of that. Can they potentially sort of have a bit more consistency, right? You know, Reese, so many of the most talented names in Fortnite on this page.
Yeah, some of the best names. You know, like I said, we saw Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason, who are currently in 16th. Pop Off winning the big victory royale in Game 1 yesterday. If they come out with the steam that they had today in Game 1 and continue that on, they may rise completely up. And it's definitely not something we've seen in any other region over and over again. So we've seen these changes going around in the leaderboard. Some teams down here managing to make themselves all the way up to the top 3, and we could definitely be seeing that here today.
Let's take a look at the highlights, though. Let's take you back to the beginning of yesterday when Reason, Vidil, and O'Reilly won that first game. They had a crazy play. Look, forget that guy in Lazy Lake. These were the real Kaisers to start the day, because, you know, they started with the way you'd typically expect them to sort of finish, right, with a huge win.
Yeah, and you notice they dropped straight down into the water, managed to catch themselves so clutch. That's probably one of the moments of the tournament that we'll remember the most. But game number 2. Using the medkit heal off, remember, they're currently our first place leaders. as well. Not something we really see very typically.
Yeah, you can see game 3, Joe, Stompy, and Shadow were able to win a game. We talked about it on the leaderboards. Outside of this game, they weren't able to do much, right? So they had their win from high ground, typical of them in terms of their playstyle. But it's going to be about really being able to have more games like this over the course of these 6 games.
Yeah, and you know, this is the turning point in the tournament for us. This was Hen, Janus, and Chapik's game number 4, where they showed that even contested, these guys can pick up big victory royales. And this is where they climbed really high up the leaderboards from their first victory royale. But extremely impressive stuff for them. And this wasn't even their first and only victory royale of the game.
Yeah, you take a look now, sort of, you know, the last moments of the tournament, really, right? The last couple of games where things really do start to get intense. You know, you had, you know, great finish, and if anything, the likes of Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki winning a game here. You can see Trulex dropping down, hitting key shots to win them the game in the end. A phenomenal performance. But we started, or I should say, we finished with the team who won it all last season, right? The FNCS champions picked up that final game. And what a zone to do it, right, Reese?
Exactly the same as games as well. So no surprise, these guys learned from that game 1, and here we go, winning game number 6.
So clean. And that package was absolutely insane, by the way. The hype, I just felt it once again, just coursing through my veins. Okay, we got to set the stage a little bit coming into day number 2, okay? I'm kind of curious to pick your brain a little bit, Reese. I wanted to see, you know, some of these trios are having a difficult time just landing and getting these contested POIs and making it out alive. So I'm curious to see, like, do you think trios might be changing up their drop spots coming into day number 2?
Yeah, I think if you look at the leaderboard, you have to think, right, if we're dropping, say, for example, the 2 teams currently in retail row, we've got Wolfie's team going against Kiko's team, both not performing too well in the leaderboards right now, both, I think, 20th all the way down till 33rd, I think, somewhere in that range. So they're definitely going to have to think, what we're going to change up in their strategy. And Wolfie's team, during the qualifier and also during the heats, have ended up dropping in Dirty Docks and also Steamy Stacks. So you've got to think, if it's not working out for them so far in retail, maybe they go Dirty and contest Thomas Flick and Anas, or maybe even up to Steamy and contest our current place leaders, which has potentially been alluded to on Twitter so far already by Wolfie. So could see some changes in drop slots today.
Yeah, I think that's always bound to happen on that second day, right? Teams sort of maybe get a bit nervous about how they performed on the first day, so they look to switch things up. Definitely a possibility.
All right, Levin, talk to me about some sleeper teams, because I feel like you've got one that didn't get much broadcast time yesterday, but they're still performing extremely well.
Well, yeah, Zeke, there were 3 teams in the top 10 that stood out to me for contrasting reasons, right? You know, Kiriachi, Stormy, right, and Toos over at Slurpee. Really interesting team, one of the best teams mechanically in all of Europe, and they were incredibly consistent. They played incredibly well, but the one thing that stood out to me, 2.83 average eliminations. Lowest of anybody in the top 10. Weird for a team who you maybe expect to be a bit more aggressive outside of Slurpee, right? Taking a look over at Misty Meadows, though, Pizza, Ardit for Strokey, a record-breaking team from the qualifying weeks. Complete opposites, right? 5 average eliminations, the second highest of anybody in all of the lobby, right? These guys were incredibly aggressive, getting a lot of their points via eliminations, and all the way at the top of the map, right? This one is the most peculiar. Now, they had no games in the top 10. That's like weird. How do you get top 10 without any games in the top 10? Crazy stuff. If they can be a bit more consistent, imagine where they could finish, right? Way higher than top 10 you'd expect. So be interesting to see how these...
Absolutely. Now, boys, we got to talk about this, all right? Flick, Anas, Thomas HD, a trio we think can go all the way, but right now they're coming into day number 2 in 8th. I mean, what do they need to do? What do we need to change up to climb these leaderboards?
Well, I think the big thing... Oh, no, you
no, go ahead. No, take away. Be my
We're so excited.
All I was going to really say about these guys is the big thing is that, you know, they need to be a bit more aggressive in terms of surge positioning, right? We saw in zones like this where they land Dirty Docks, you know, they weren't really getting too aggressive. They usually take kills like this to look for surge tags. But typically of the better teams, you'd maybe see them get a bit deeper, maybe try and get positions a bit deeper in the zone so they have a larger range of teams to get for storm surge tags. Nothing too, you know, out of the norm, nothing too spectacular, but just a small tweak that they could make.
Now, I kind of want to shift topics really quickly. because I want to remind everybody of our predictions coming into day number 2 of the finals. Levin, Shayo, you both agree that Anas Flick and Thomas H. And this is why I brought up my point, because you do think they could go all the way.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the boys. I think they will be hungry to finally get that FNCS championship win, and they are still poised to really, you know, put a good performance into the sitting in 8th at the moment. There's still hope for them.
Yep, and you know, I've gone with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. You know, these guys have fixed all their mistakes, it seems, and into yesterday, when I spoke to Tayson, he said, as soon as we get Storm Surge, we are fine, and that's exactly what they did on day 1. They did have a little bit lower average eliminations than they normally would, so if today we see them with large pop-offs, this is going to be them climbing up the leaderboards, potentially looking for that championship again.
Yeah, and Sancho looks like a genius, because his pick is in first right now with ref there. Sancho's going to take it all today.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho West and ShyWager to start our day.
This is the finale of the finals, the last day of a multi-week event. Whether you're in Party Royale, on the couch, or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play today. $1.3 million on the line for EU as well. This is going to be insane.
And don't you go anywhere, because the action is already kicking off with our #1 place team being contested at Steamy Stacks. We all saw this going down on social media. Will it be Wolfies actually here? No, it's actually Nexus Trio. This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million+ are on the line, and the championship is at stake. And here is our defending champions, Hen, Janice, and Chapix, already trading between Highcrest. It is a deja vu moment, the sequel to the fireworks that we saw in day 1. Shayo, it's already picking up, baby. It is the FNCS EU.
Yeah, and it's absolute deja vu. Highcrest already going down inside the first game. We saw 12 games played yesterday. In all, or 6 games played yesterday. There's 12 games to play. In all 6, these guys fought over and over again. Highcrest either going down first or Hen. This time it will be Highcrest. Knight and Vortex will have to try to pick up the slack here, but with a top-tier trio who's won this POI over and over, just breathing down your neck, it seems absolutely impossible.
Here we go. These are very important moments. Looks like Andretta actually gets knocked, so we'll keep an eye on the feed on that here. That is our #1 team, already a knock against them. Let's go ahead and focus back in here. Chapix, Hen, on the like basically so close getting a repeat championship.
We'll flip back and forth between those POIs. Now the fight's actually breaking down at Steamy Stacks. Savage, Refsguard seem to have wiped Screwy and Nexus off the face of the Fortnite Island, just with a little bit of a consequence of Andretta getting knocked. It feels like Sancho just got a free buff points off spawn. There wasn't really any much contention whatsoever. I think Savage might actually still be looking for the rest of the squad for the moment. They might be slightly split, looking at how things are going so far, but with this loadout, there should be no problems at all for Savage to wrap things up.
This is what they were worried about going into day 2. They thought they will be contested. Usually Steamy Stacks in the EU region is historically heavily contested. Last season, Andretta Resguard with Scrab dealt with 2-3 trios at times contested in there. So there's no stranger to that. They expected it. They bot review it, and they were ready. And now Janice, Hen, and Chapix were ready for Highcrest once again. Vortex is going to be left alone right out in the bush. So far, it is the bush trade. When you all got it in the back pocket, that's all you can do. And right now, you're looking at a 6-1 advantage right now going Hen's way. And anytime any team walks out of Craggy, they do really well. And when Hen's team walks out of Craggy, they get double-digit victory royales. That is the potential of the pop-off that they have here. But Shayo, pop-off potential for Thomas H. Flick and Anas. Day 2 is usually their day.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks, and if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too of where you want to go. It could be big like Dirty, it could be small like this Junction sort of, you know, POI where Red Rush Exteriors are dropping at. They have a huge split where they travel around the map. There's many different things to do. The basic rule for everyone, though, is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone, you got to win that fight. So we already saw it happen. The big names coming off of Spawn unscathed, basically. And everyone else is, really amping up to have a very good first game. There's still 30 trios alive right now. The only two that have dropped we watched, that was Screwy's trio and then High Chris's at Craggy Cliffs. Everyone else is just going to be rotating now, looking for lots of damage around the map.
And that was our third place team, Asterios, with Red Rush and Mappy, with a kind of an unexpected performance. Not anybody really had them. Red Rush, the FNCS squad champion, alongside with Asterios and Mappy. They had a really solid day. They kind of played conservatively. They were able to get a lot of placement points alongside with some valuable elims. But the thing that they have to work on is, can they continue that pace? They're pretty much playing out of body, like we mentioned yesterday. And that's pretty difficult to do in a high stakes lobby like this one.
Absolutely. And for this team on screen, I mean, you can see the stat, the importance for these guys on the second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching today. For like Anas and Thomas HD, their day ones usually are kind of scraping by. They'll be in the top 10. Won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2, they really start popping off. Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games. The issue is, I'm not sure looking at this lobby if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map, how spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be looking at as well. The level of competition is so high, and for these guys on the top right to be able to perform, I mean, they're going to have to pull out miracles from inside of them. Like, it is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're going to have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of Zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone, so you have Hen Trio looking really solid. We already talked about Levin, talked about at the analyst desk. Nebs' trio has been doing really solid, considering they had not been finishing in the top 10. If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, Game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations, I think 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement. They were taking out the likes of Deals trio. So, hey, you got to watch out for Nebs, who kind of surprised everyone during the qualifier stage, being able to qualify out of Stealthy Stronghold. They're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like in Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, sometimes it's good to get contested, because now they have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems within day 1, this makes things alleviates just a little bit there.
Watching Wakey Eye dropping can also rotate some people who are dropping on the way outsides of the map.
Oh my!
Resort to just going inside cars. Sometimes, though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get battered up while you drive around the map. The big thing about day 2 is just to make sure you're playing that first game very close to the chest. Sometimes we're watching EU yesterday. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time, though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're going to start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it. Here's Pizza, Ardent, and Fast Roki. This trio is the most troublesome on this entire day and on the Fortnite map. Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position. They love the third-party fights. You can see it right now. They're bothering another trio, just trying to rotate. They have to make an entire wall just to get by this river. This is crazy. Fast Roki, Ardent, Pizza, especially in the endgame, man, they crazy thing is, though, when there's no one to actually counter, they don't actually end up doing too much. They end up not having a game plan set in stone. So I hope they find a trio to kind of act off of, or they might be in trouble.
Now we're taking a look at Bloomy's trio, putting pressure down on Tayson's trio. Builds are on fire because the car exploded. Bloomy's trio is kind of a trio that's coming from that west coast of Fort Crumpet. If you didn't watch yesterday, they've been doing solid work, considering they've been avoiding a lot of the kind of the scary trios coming out of that side of the map, and they did really well. They've been around the top 10. A lot of people expected them just to be Storm Surge tags for that side of the map, but they were able to get away, make some smart rotations, rotate early, like reset how important it can be. Now, when I was watching Tayson and ForZR, they kind of play a little bit conservative. Even though they made it to in-game, they weren't really looking for eliminations. They were just looking for placement. If they can match what we all know what they can with that elim firepower that they do have behind their trio, they can essentially move up the leaderboard a little bit faster rather than just staying kind of in the middle of the top pack.
Yeah, Red Rush on your screen now, 4-0 that we were watching before. A lot of these invisible type trios have just survived so far on the first day. For day 2, if they want to end up coming first, yeah, you got to hit these shots like Mappy is right now as well, but you have to start playing for the win. Take some risks and grab this game for your own trio.
That's what I was about to ask you, Shayo. Is it just about being conservative and trying to sit all the placements, or is it about going for the win? And you answered it right there. You gotta go for the win because no one's gonna give you the crown. You're gonna have to take it from our defending FNCS champions and Hens trio.
And sometimes, depending on the zone, you never know exactly. The game can give you that win. Yesterday, we saw the craziest things towards the south side. When I'm looking at the middle of the map, though, all these consistent type trios who end up playing low ground, they end up winning out the games a little bit more. It's very difficult for Height to do much. You get bounce back zones. They don't have that much room to end up getting eliminations. And eliminations are also a big wave and name of the game. Take these two trios, for example, as well. Trulex Squeezy on the bottom side, DKS Gray and Shakeoz on top. Trulex, the guy on your screen right now, glorious, and no pun intended, at just playing these end games and having the position on Height. These guys controlled the game yesterday so much from the 5th zone onwards, but then basically choked after that. They could not hold on to that title spot, the big all the way up top high ground, and other teams rolled over them. Maybe they can clap back today. You have to make changes. That's what Wolfies is going for on your screen right now. Actually bullying Exteriors and Mappy, but maybe just looking for damage. They'll move on. You don't want to throw your game over just one mid-game fight. You want to survive for the whole entire time.
You're looking at what's happening, the adjustments already. Wolfies was 15-15 that yellow house, games 1-2. They kind of split retail row against Kiko's trio. Now they're rotating early. We're seeing the retail row teams rotate early. Scram's trio, the other retail row, is rotating towards Lazy Lake. This time Wolfies is kind of pushing that Cammy split, and that Cammy split right now is being held down by Red Rush's trio.
We talked about early game as well in terms of how players want to, go about their game. It's about defending your drop spot. Now towards mid-game, you'll see this cool little graphic above the mini-map on the right side. It says damage threshold 121 above for Toos. This entire mechanic is called Storm Surge. So basically, when you're rolling in this game, there's so many players that end up staying alive. You want to give these guys a challenge and make sure the entire server is staying healthy as well. So 90 players will have to drop down to 70 for this entire player threshold, and that's decided by how much damage they do. So you basically have to deal damage or you get dealt damage by this purple lightning that comes down. You'll see it in a second. Toos is ahead of it right now. Everyone after their drop spots is playing for this Storm Surge threshold. They'll look for damage. For Toos, it was long range beams. Over here, it's box fights between 5 different trios. Kiko last alive on his squad. Dementos following closely behind them. This is a horror movie. He's trying to move forward. So many beams from all spots. There's an arrow in his elbow. This has to hurt. He's going down, and that's one trio taken out.
Sometimes you take arrows to the shin, but there's nothing like an arrow to the elbow. That's going to knock you down. That's going to take you out. But now Podesai one last MXR with back, like very last place right now. They have been very inconsistent. They were going down to Stealthy Stronghold. In fact, game 5, they were kind of splitting some randomness. But now maybe they could come up and kind of shake up that bottom of the board, because right now they're affecting this rotation right here just by being here.
Hey, you're talking about randomness. What is this? This is, I'm counting like 7 different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fast Roki, the Interrupters, High Ground fighting Stoppy right. Down below, Dementos is not stopping. Jamside is going down in the build.
Oh, man.
This is a crazy 6-way fight. ST's here too, making it off spawn for, I think, the first time I'm watching, and they're looking real good with this loadout.
This is just a repeat of day 1. All the Southern teams from Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, Caddy Corner, all being late on the rotations and all colliding as you're seeing Jamsai getting eliminated by Podesai. This is what's happening the entire tournament. It looks like it's going to be a repeat in day 2. If any of these trios want to get better for the day in placement, they just have to avoid this kind of white line engagement that's happening right here, Shayo. This traffic jam hasn't stopped, and this is game 7 out of 12.
It's going to get crazy as the day goes on, too. These are teams playing conservative. Bad Sniper inside Storm, eating some damage, looking for an angle. Not going to really find it, but has some meat to eat, so it's all good on his end. Once again, in terms of reading what's going on screen, it might be confusing. There's health bars to watch. Once that threshold thing pops up on the right side as well, that's like an extra health bar to kind of show you guys how the trio's doing. If they're about 300, 400 damage above, it's really good. Anything below that, sometimes they could be in trouble. There's even more trios, though, still inside the Storm. Hellfire's so far back. Okay, never mind. It's the reverse side. They're actually in. Everyone's looking good. Oh, look at this. So many people, Sancho, playing side by side, close together. And like, this is going to be rough rotates all the way across.
A very nightmare type of rotation if the zone keeps pulling north, but also a nightmare start for Red Rush. Asterios and Mappy down already. Our third place team is out. That gives room for ForZR, Tayson, and Nate to move up the board, and Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky right now. Like, you nailed it, man. They've been holding on to height. They will be at height. Like, about 4 out of the 6 games, they were on height, and they got it taken away from them. And only one of them, they were able to hold on and get a victory out. So expect this team to continuously to fight for height, to expend all their mats to hold on to height, do whatever that they can, because they're all in for that strategy. And when you go all in, you saw it already, they get down into shambles. But I'm expecting them to at least get 1 or 2 victory outs here today.
This is such a weird game, though. Yesterday, we were watching organized driving, basically. Everyone in their own lanes, way far away. They were, following traffic laws. This time, I'm watching bumper cars. I'm looking at trios just bouncing off of each other, shooting over and over again. No one is leaving space for anyone to walk by. Even Nate, so far away from this trio, is looking to affect this one. Trulex getting hard beamed. This is troublesome.
This is just what it means, that how much eliminations are. 2 points apiece, Shyle. Expect people to go for more elims because they have to make up some ground to catch up to the top of the leaderboard.
Everyone's also just bunched up at the south side right now. There's a river all the way in between. Some elevation. It'll be tricky to actually navigate. There is one big hill, and there are some kings on it. A god trio, maybe, who's watching. Kind of an opposite lifeguard on this river. They're actually looking to take out people who might be drowning, and everyone's gonna have to start to swim in just a second. Jerky's already down, so Trulix and Queasy are already looking bad, and look at who they have to go by. Snazy, Andalex, Tuz Kiriachi, Shaco's up top. This is like playing a game on the hardest veteran difficulty, and you have no ammunition. Your movement speed is slower as well. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this one.
This is going to be a ruthless rotation. All eyes to see who could be able to look at all the hard mats already expended here, because they have been box fighting. They have been trading blows here. The entire south side of the map here, zone 4. Let's take a look at it. Yes, so many trios are on the south side here. The north side is still a little bit going to be troublesome, but not so much. And there's already a team right there in the orange in the middle of that map. They're going to have strong positioning. That is the high point of this section. But the river is available for rotations. On the top right of your screen, that is Squeeze's trio, who've had a rough start to their tournament run. Shifting down to Camp Cod, having trouble with Storm Surge, not being able to get what they normally do. Let's see how they do here in day 2, making those adjustments.
No one's holding anything back. Stormy Red already going down. Tuz Kiriachi, they need consistent games. The reason they're inside the top 10 right now is they're really good on placement. Just like all these teams you see on your screen, they're lacking eliminations. Janus and Chapix doing their classic, what we saw yesterday. Low ground mountainous rotation. Every time they end up doing this, the zone plays for them. I'm not sure if this is like a type of rain dance, but they get every zone when they're in this position. They look good while doing it. Games.
We already saw who's at height holding it. It is Vidil's trio who've made those game plan movements that they were talking about, those adjustments. They said on social media, we have a plan. We saw yesterday, they were kind of just pushing everything, getting in some scrums in mid-game, rotating late, but now they're early, and now they have prime position to get beams. So now they're changing up their box fighting mentality for Storm Surge, and they're just going to do it from a distance. Wow, I'm impressed.
And they came through yesterday with a crazy win in the first game as well. 12 total eliminations. Looked really good. Are these guys hot starters, though? Because after that, it was just mistake after mistake. They fell down the board, and they're in 16th place now. They used to be first on the day, and they ended at 16th.
If they could just chill out a bit, just don't use the NOS, don't use the turbo, just kind of just ease off the gas just a little bit, coast, put that bad battle in close, and maybe they could just get on through. Because when they get to in-game, they're dangerous. We have yet to see them perform in this tournament at in-game.
Jason ForZR, Nate, similar type of circumstance. They just need to end up grabbing this game for themselves. I'll watch a lot of people rotating beside them. I'm still feeling a little bit of a survival vibe from this trio. They're not looking to be in a big spot to win the game currently, but at the same time, they have a max zone to rotate. So let's hold off on that for a second. Tayson getting tagged from the right side. There's even other trios rotating later than this. They have to move through a maze. They don't have a map. They're not sure what's going to be in front of them right here. It's going to be Wakey and Floki into Sipto setting a trap. Andalex uses the river and goes by fast. MXR one last Podicide. They're moving too. And right above them, this bad sniper with Andretta as a solo player. Refsguard and Savage down. How did this happen? This is your first place team right now, cumulatively over the 7 games. I know it just says 7 points right there, but that's just for day 2. The first place team has 1 person left. If Andretta goes down, their team stops getting placement, they might drop out of first. All eyes are on Andretta for this end game, and there's so many people looking to take him out to try to grab the lead.
Andretta has to go back at the time machine. He finished 24th in the World Cup solos, so he could kind of dip into the past, pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic here because his job is just all about getting placement as many points as possible before he gets lobbied.
Oh no, this is trouble. This is the 3rd time I'm watching this happen. This FNCS.
It happens.
Throwing things close range, they're so lethal though. Look at Bubok's health just go down more and more. Now he's at 20 as well. It's so hard to run away from those stingfish, but once again, you use them in close range, they end up doing damage to you as well. This entire box too, this complex of builds has so many top trios, and making sure you medkits up. These guys are going all in on their HP. They're looking to just take this end game by storm.
Oh yeah, and the storm has already moved away from all of our competition. The first moving has been revealed and is going back towards Dirty Docks. This is going to be a very dirty, a very dangerous rotation. And Thomas AC and Austin Flick, we said that day 2 is their day. Are they going to be able to seize it and have that pop-off game, Shio?
This is not only the thing we've seen on EU, especially early, is people like to contest height. They like to interrupt Thomas, Flick, and Anas. But look how far this split goes. Anas and Flick are already all the way on the front side, building a new base. So these guys have real estate on all corners of the map. Janice Hen and Chapix, they're going down to on the backside of Storm. This is absolutely ruthless. People have to make it up a mountain, go down a mountain. It's tough. The hill's in the way, and Chapix is the last person alive on this squad to make the rotate.
Chapix is usually the tarper. He could navigate these builds. He could do those layer switches. He could just hold on as much. This is the defending champion here who had with the victory. Now they're in the 2nd threshold replacement. But let's take an eye on height. Thomas AC, Anas, and Flick here, putting some pressure down below. They have the ammo. Look at the AR. They have all the options they can to put the pressure down on low ground.
Every player playing scared. Low ground. Even the people getting struck by this purple lightning from Storm Surge are safe and can breathe for the moment. I will have to work overtime to try to break these builds and go for shots. Look how tough it is. Brick builds everywhere. Metal. Wow. Vidil, no rally. They're surviving on low. They get to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, even Andretta's alive. The first place team has 1 player. He takes out Sun in mid-ground. Meanwhile, Thomas, Flick, and Anas are looking for anything right now. They only have 2 eliminations, Sancho. I've never seen them this, unaffected on the lobby. This is troublesome for them. They need to try to wrap up this game.
Yeah, but this is where they start looking out there as they both get Irez and Andretta right there. This is where they start getting eliminations, when the lobby starts getting really tight and congested right now. The most important thing is the builds are so low. They're going to have to get closer already. They're setting up someone with the heals. Thomas AC is holding on to some medkits here, so he is going to be that heal up win condition. Anas and Flicker have to go down here, but look, Noah Riley and Vidil and Reason are there on the low ground.
Ja, znaš ko je Ćofi? Znam ja puno Ćofi, ali ne znam na kog ti misliš.
Low ground scrappy, high ground free.
Onaj koji streama igra Brawl Stars. Dobro, znam ga.
Flick falls down, big fall damage. Noah Riley in his box. He's gonna have Vipers, and there's no chance he's gonna survive. It's too venomous. Thomas HD and Anas have to do this as a duo. They've done it before, but at the same time, there's so many different players of high calibers down below.
With the zone going towards their backyard, this is going to be the game that could be the signature game that I was talking about in day 1. They already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to let it go away here. Marvin with a phenomenal performance, the best performance they had to.
Slikao se s njim, bio mod na tekmi, Bravo, wait.
Build, they're beaming down its lasers from.
Ulazim pa igramo duo. Aj.
He's working
Evo
around
taman
the
da se
build.
završi
Somehow
game,
everyone's
ovi će da
escaped.
vinaju.
Thomas is going for the beams when Anas finds the first. They're still staying up. It's a patient game. Reason last alive 2v1, and he could still do it. He has all the maps
Kako
from the
Reason?
eliminated bodies below. We're going over a bridge. It's going to be a stalemate for about 30 seconds. If Anas and Thomas don't drop down, yeah, they're not going to. They're going to stay up. and
Reason na
Reason
njih
has some
dvojicu.
time to breathe.
Ako Reason
What
vina,
does Reason
ova
have
dvojica
in
su
his
dva
inventory?
najveća
He has
nuba.
enough builds just to
Anas
hold out
kreće
here.
se medkita.
Reason, they had the
Reason je
game
lagan.
one victory out. Game one popped off huge.
Pupa ga.
Reason could clutch it. No! Anas is not so fast.
Bravo, doktore!
Elbow jump, but
Vinaj
Reason
ovo!
claps back. Reason still getting the excitement. He does. If he can find Thomas HT.
Vino je, vino je, vino je,
Oh my goodness.
vino je.
What? What? Are you kidding me? Reason gets the victory out. How?
Kako je
bro?
Popović?
How? Shio, are you kidding me?
Vino je
Are you
burazer.
HD, 1 second off of the med kit all the way on
Kako
high gun is what I
Popo?
basically see and how it looks like. Reason gets the siphon at the last
Kakav Popov.
game. This man, not even a troll under a bridge, a goat under a bridge, clutches
Kako je
the
lik
unclutchable.
odigrao.
Man, just go to the desk. Go to the desk.
Koji su? Ne, sad ću ja.
What the heck am I watching? This is just the first game. Wow, dude. Okay, listen. Reason got put in one of the most difficult.
Ja u zadnju minutu dam gol i sudija poništi gol. Vidio sam kao pipno rukom, a pipno stomakom.
Dude, like what? At this point, is it placement? Is it elims? He's like, you know what? Let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
We cannot have tier 1 teams messing up medkit timings.
Kako je
in the
lik
game. We saw
Popov?
Thomas hit the zone, and then as he started popping
Kakav
medkit,
igrač.
you saw him start to move a little bit afterwards. He'd already messed up to start with. This is like a clinical play that we have to have locked down. We've seen a lot of this actually on NA East, and then messing up the timings of it.
Uvijek
We're actually
sumro
really
jedno
yet to
bez
see
veze.
that, and
Ajde
that
vidim
definitely was a
tabelu.
bit of a choke, which allowed Reason just absolutely
Staki kad ulaziš? Moram da se kupam. A, okej.
huge props to Reason for clutching that, but they did win game 1 yesterday.
Gledam ja ovo dok ti ne uđeš.
Seasons, you know, champions, because you look at the last two teams there. This is the third place team from last season versus the second place team from last season. And if you actually remember back to last season, Reason had some phenomenal clutches back then as well. And he's back this season with just the clutch genes in his veins. How has he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did is. And, you know, we could be coming back in about 5 games and looking at that as being a defining moment in what turned their tournament around. That victory I'll push.
Može.
Even if you just ended in second place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least hit second. Nope, let me just 1v2 this other trio, no problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2 of the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots. Reese, at the very beginning of the show, I asked you if anything would be changed up. Did anything get changed up?
Minorly. Look, minor things changed up.
Okay.
But some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? Have you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before? This team's been dropping here for a long time. But what's very important and very critical is the absolute sharpshooter eye that Kiriachi has.
Viki, invite Basku.
Wow. Instantly.
Da igramo 3 u arenu.
That is insane. Look, we know what he can do with those kind of rifles in his hands.
Viki, jel me čuješ?
In terms of Pizza Ardit for Strokey, these guys, they won. We talked about how aggressive they were in terms of eliminations, how successful they were out of Misty. And to start off with, they were obviously known to be contested at Misty, but they've still remained fine. And it looks like they have the chance to maybe replicate what happened yesterday, since it doesn't seem like they have too many problems there. Similar things could be said for Flickiness and Thomas, however, we just saw there at the end. You know, it's not going to
Koji su peti ostali? Nice!
Ajde igramo 3 u arenu.
A, Viktor će gledati.
Evo sad ću, čekaj.
Čekaj da vidim šta je to. Čekaj da vidim samo šta je to.
FNCS.
Šta, gledaš likove kako igraju?
Grand Final.
Ajde da vidimo, Baska, da vidimo samo da li je glupo.
Sitting in 4, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky singing in 5th. You know what's funny, Reese, when I look at this? Almost my top 5 prediction list, except for Henjalis and Chapix. Like, all the teams we
Hoćeš bar arenu, hoćeš bar arenu.
Absolutely.
Ne znam,
And this has
zanimljivo
just
je to
gone
da
even
gledaš,
closer.
ali stvarno
Apart from, let's be real, Hen Janis Chapik pulling away a
Dobro,
little bit
dobro.
with their
A hoćeš bar
eliminations
onda
of
arenu,
Spawn. No, you know,
Jure.
Chapik's clutched all the way up till 9th by himself there, so 2 moving
Deseti
games
su-
taken through, which was really,
deseti su,
really
ovo je
big for the team. That's
popa
why they started
game.
to kind of take that lead a little bit. Again, Andrea
Reason
managed to do a
Vino
similar
i
thing, pushing them
deseti
all the way
su.
to 12th, so great performance from these guys, but again,
Baska,
Kiriakis'
aj
team,
livamo.
some of these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned, they're
Jesi
still
ti livo
middling
ovo?
right in that 7th till 8th, and then we did see Bubak up in the end game again, so that moved them up 2 slots as well. And then from that big victory
Brat je livo
round, now Reason
party.
Real No Riley up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep that steam going.
Oni pišu da je brat livo
Man,
parti.
momentum, baby. We have it. We have more games here waiting
Ja,
for
da
us. A
bijemo
lot of these
ovo.
trios
Diramo
are
duo.
looking to shut down this top 3 because remember, it's top
Ček se
3
živim.
that will auto-qual going into Chapter 2, Season 7. But you know what time it is for us.
A izlazi iz
Right back
toga.
aboard the battle
Ja.
bus. Make way, because Sancho
Ne.
West and Shywood, you're coming through.
Na kraju najgema.
Izlazi li ja i Baska idemo da igramo sami duo arenu.
Baska i arena, dobro.
Da, znaš kako će to Viktore se završiti.
A?
Stani, Baska. Idem da mu joinam.
Čekaj, evo me, izašao sam iz ovoga.
Znam, vidim samo zašto neće. O, brate, što je taj tvrdoglav?
Ništa, gledamo iz replaya. Truvek sam da ga... Ništa, onda gledamo iz replaya Truveksa. Ću ovaj da gledam. Sad ću reći da je Rezon najbolji player na svijetu i to. Mislim, jedan od najboljih playera na svijetu. Popa svaki game, lik. Ovi umru na landu, bukvalno ovi Rezon popa svaki game. Ništa hate prema Rezon, vedevo je. I no review, ali Rezon sve kvača. Moram još ne postavljam. Ništa ljudi, ako kupujete nešto iz shopa, znate koji kod upišete. Tako da ona. Harvey Quitter je u shopu. Oj, piće best. Čekam, sad se vjerovatno stavljate ljudi. I am Simo Creative. Zahtjevnici. Granici. Instinktual. Server 2.
Poi... Viktore. Nemoj da tražiš neke idiotske gluposti.
What the fuck?
Nemoj ti nešto se...
Ne uspeva kod baskice za Tilted Zone Wars, veruj mi.
I šta igramo? Castle Fight?
Ne. Octagon, kao Hexagon u Fall Guysu. Si ti ušao? Ti igraš na kompu i mišu?
Ne, igram na miši, tastaturi sada, ako hoćeš.
Vaj. Što mapa ne radi? Padni dole. Ajde probamo na neko da vina. Da padnem ja dole pa vina i ti možda će radi, ne znam.
Baska tu, gdje je? Piše mi defeat. Defeat 1-3.
Jer si ti pao dole.
Jeli, jesi ti igrao uopšte ovu mapu?
Da.
To je ljudi moji.
Nemam pojma, ne radi. Ne.
Ne radi uopšte.
Mislim da treba da se kao prelaze polja.
Pa treba, ali vidiš da neće.
Ali ne da propada.
Pa šta treba onda da...
Ajde si igramo nešto za pucanje, stvarno Vaska. I nemoj da livaš, to je za debile. Šta? Kad nije nešto po tvojom livom, jeste.
Što je ova mapa?
Vulkan Noob ti se zove mapa.
Šta ćeš, što sam pravio s njim? Šta ćeš?
Nisi pravio sa njim.
Jeste kad je bio kod mene.
Ne, on je pitao šta bi rekao je ova mapa. Prvi put je vidio.
Jeli, gdje je Viktor? Evo ga.
Tu je.
Aj ovo.
Stani da ne...
Nećemo da igramo sa drugim likovima. I Tropical Zone Wars. Ja sam mislim da sam imao...
Hoćemo Castle Fight, lagano.
Ne.
Ako hoćeš možemo. Evo namesti za mapu.
Ajde, namesti. Build Fight Red se bilo, ne?
Ne, namestio sam ja mapu. Ovo je jako zanimljivo, samo uđici.
Ali to ona tvoja mapa kad si pravio sa Mimijem i sa mnom.
Ne, bože, koja je to mapa?
Gunslade Wars. Ono gdje imaš sve i svašta.
Šta bi ovo trebalo da
Treba da
znači?
edit Wars, treba da izedituješ drugo može biti podi.
Aha, ja
Šta je
znam
ovaj
ovo.
flapper?
Ne znam, to sad ću sve što
Au.
Aha.
Dođi vamo, floperče!
Floperče! Viktori. Ne znam, flopper mislim da je nepotreban, tako da ne morate. Mislim, možda i jeste potreban, ali dobiješ nešto, ono što ne možeš.
I da čekam sutra.
Što?
Što?
Ništa.
Pa... Nije to ništa.
Ne, propao sam sam sebe.
Koliko si loš.
A neću, ovo je bez veze.
Zašto gubiš onda
Onima
bez
koji
veze.
ne znaju da editaju. Ne! Oči! Oooo, bas.
Glupa je ova mapa.
Zato što ne znaš da igraš.
Ne znam toliko brzo da editujem.
Pa ne mora ništa
zato
brzo,
ti je
samo čekaj
glupo.
da ti neko stane na podi. Ne, ni ne mora tako brzo.
Pa ja sam
Ajde, dajte
izeditovao sam
Markovića,
sebe.
Hidre.
Ne, pokušao sam da ga invajtam, ali...
Ulazim, a?
Kako sam crkao, nisam ni propao. Nisam propao.
A dobiješ samo jednog flopera, nema smisla.
Halo, nisam propao.
Kako au, baska.
Ljudi, nisam propao, samo sam se zadržao na onom crnom. I to je to.
Pa nemoj da se zadržavaš na crnom, nego izađi.
Aj.
Super.
Ništa na floperu, dobiješ samo jedan floper, ali ništa.
Opa!
Bože, bože. Aj stepke.
Ko me izeditovao?
Pa,
Očajan si, Veljko.
Alo, pokušavao sam da brzo editujem, čak i ne znam da neko
Veljko
brzo
i
edituje.
brzenet. Češ ti to, Baska? To...
nemoj brzo da edituješ, nego igraj. Nemoj da pokušavaš, nego igraj.
Jaj, nerega bende, jaj. Jaj, jaj. Bandy Fisherman, vajte.
Au, ja sam sam propao.
Baska je bilo 4 runde.
Baš me briga, ja učim da editujem. Tako da mene zaobiđite. Znate da ću sam propasti,
Jaj,
Ne
dajte
mora.
me klipzi ugaviju.
Uuuu.
Evo ga, prihim. Baska. Ne, ja sam tebe i ti si mene.
Veljko pobedio.
Nije mi dobro, mogu videra, Baska.
Mathe, nazvao si se, brate, nepismeno. Ne treba Luves, nego Loves. I nije U, nego...
Baska, mogu videra, samo za sekund.
Što?
Ma, nešto da uradim. Tako. Hidero. Ćao. Dobro, sad imam primjer. Brevi za Veljko. Veljko! Ajde, možda po Sorgima da gledam Grant. Ne! Ćao.
Za malo. Ali za malo. O majke mi, samo da sam pustio edit.
Ajde ja da gledam Grance.
Ajde, bre, ostani još malo.
Ali Viktore, ali to Opačić napalio na FNCS.
Ne, Veljko to svaki normalan čovjek voli.
Jeste FNCS dobar kap, nego si ti napaljen ko... ne kažem šta.
Ko ti? Aj, odo ja.
Ja
Evo, uvijem, čekaj.
Jedva sam čekao s tobom da igram.
Ha?
Kažem, jedva sam čekao s tobom da igram.
Ja danas bio kod nekog i kod brata i znaš kako sam dobar na tastaturi i mišu? Znaš kako znam da igram? Vidim svaki FNCS.
Aj malo krejice.
Auru da stavim.
Nikih tenis.
Alo, ne čujem te, približi mikrofon.
Me čuješ sad bolje?
Da. Da invajte me još jednog da igramo 3 arenu.
Ne.
Hoćeš?
Ne.
A znaš ko je taj?
Ko?
Khabib si love you. Jel jedno čekaš
Nećemo.
Jel jedno čekaš sutra?
Zašto? Da.
Aj bijemo Basku. Maybe.
Ajde.
Aj. Ili vevericu. Onaj ili onog na A. Ili onog na B. Što je skamo da ima utakmicu. B. Onaj B.
Ja u
I
zadnjem
onog
minutu dam
kava.
gol. I sudija poništi gol.
Kako je igrao Alexa?
Ma kakav Alexa, brate. Tek je došao. Nema šanse onda igra.
A gdje ste igrali?
Drugom timu.
Alo, gdje ste igrali?
Na Rakovici.
Alo, jel tvoj klub se zove Žarkova?
Da.
I ima kao neki veliki teren ispred. Mislim ima neki veliki teren kao.
Da. Koji ćemo
8.
tim?
Ne.
Nemoj.
7.
7. Da, šta s tim?
Moj brat trenira tamo. Sad se upisao.
Kako se zove?
Vuk.
A preziva?
Stepanović.
Koji vodiš?
14.
Oh.
A možda on igra Fortnite.
Evo. Jo, babar.
Igra bolje od Alexa. Bez odana. Rematch mi poslao friend request. Što sam se ja prijavio da igram neke custom. Pusti mene.
Aj ono koji juče, frager.
Čekaj, pazi.
Pazi. Opa, Slurfish.
Building. Moraš da me kova. 120! Nokan!
Bravo.
Prati.
Ne, mini.
Imam Swordfish.
Mogu. Take high.
Krcan jedan. Bravo,
200.
doktore. Prati. Za malo da padne.
Samo sljedeće sezone dakle snajper i jedan god.
Ma ne, može i Bog da ostane. I ti ja igramo sa Bogom, dobro. Aj ovdje.
Da. Krekan.
Spremaj tog Ultroopera. MP90, možemo da ga ispamamo.
Dođi.
Pusti.
Krekan.
Naša zona opet. Pazi, hoće high, bravo. Krekan!
Čekaj, konektam.
Konektim tog.
Volim!
Dođi.
Igram. Des.
Pazi Raza, hoće high. Spremaj ga. Spremaj tog Raza.
Go.
Vidi ovo, malo dropam. Jel me pratiš?
Dead.
Dođi.
Ne znam desi.
Sam prati.
Tu. Stižem.
U zoni likovi.
Kako ćemo mi uzimati damage, on kapovima, to nije normalno.
Spremaj ga, 31, bravo.
Dead.
Bravo, doktore.
Bravo. Čekaj, smo ja neki živac.
Pa ne znam, ne još.
Mislim sljedeće sezone, da.
Ne znam. Mahatron. Imaš neku za trio?
Ne znam. Slušaj, znaš zašto taj pickaxe, kad koristiš taj pickaxe koji sad koristiš u kreativu?
Izbacili su ga i areni.
Da, banovanje. I Leviatan X je banovanje.
Što to rade?
Ne znam. I Sarah Connor pickaxe je banovanje.
Nightwing pickaxe budu banovani i igramo samo taktikavi pump. U stvari ne znam sad. Aj 8. Ne, 7.
Koji imaš pump?
Zlatni.
Hoćeš?
Ja sam onako frager. RGF tako da.
Ja sam s ovim kalašem, samo dođe kalaš u sljedeću sezonu, ja sam god.
Ne, bolje je brst i jar.
Da.
Aj gledaj sad, ako ne dobijemo zonu, idemo na launchpad, rampamo nekog i to. Box je dvojno. Ovako. Ne, samo da nađemo nekog god Riosa i to. Dođi.
Nismo u zonu.
Pusti.
Idemo na launchpad.
Pusti, ja ću. Samo dođi, idemo na ove.
Ovo, landi na ovo.
Da, hoću. Igra Weber, kakav.
Boksan.
Dead, bravo. Livo je meč. Jup.
Opet.
Ja sam debil pa sam, 33! 3 puta 33. Tamo.
Ja sam dead.
Na tebe sam. 52. 75. Help. Nokan.
Bravo. Daj snajper. Ne. Treba mi big.
Dropat ću ti, aj samo idemo u zonu, prati. Pazi ovog da haju, pazi ovog da haju. Sekre haje. Čekaj, revolver shotgun.
Drop je big.
Čekaj. Nokan.
Bravo.
Big, oti.
Healam ja. Tarpaj.
Ne mogu Big, dolazi. Uzem mu ovo.
To,
Mrtav.
Dropam. Ne. Sam izgubio od pola.
Uzet će haj, neće. Od 25 još jednom. Bože, što ja radim?
Vani,
30, krekam. Boksan. Nokan.
Bravo.
Ma fora što ga ja nisam hitao 2 puta. 2 puta smo bili me. A još jednom i arenu. Vidim kako ih ovdje skrimuje.
Ali ja nemam rematch.
Ne, moramo preko rematcha. Aj 7 opet.
Koji, imaš pump?
7, jedan pump.
Koji?
Epic. Sad je krenuo u skrimujema, oću je.
A čekaj, je li ovaj kako se zove, je mora na rematchu ili?
Ma ne, nije rematch. Discord.
Pa hoćeš da igramo duo, šta su?
Duo, ali je sad krenuo game. Nema pucanja dok ne krene srd. Biće ono 100 vikova, druga zona.
Au.
Ako ne bude bivo Griffin.
Taman
prati se. Naša zona. Dođi. Sad uzmemo hajlo.
Ajde, idemo ove rašamo i to.
Uzeo sam ono max high. Čisto
Ovaj bat ćemo biti vanić pije.
Nokan.
Ajme div.
Evo sad ću. Dvojci su na mene.
Aj kolam ti.
Dvojca. Čivi, ne mogu da ti idem, sorry.
Ma dobro. Dva. Oh! Popaj.
Ne mi sad je tamo. Šta ja mašim si?
Bro.
Ja upiši. Najme se revolver shotgun. Ubio bi ga, aj ubijaj.
On je tebe 140.
Samo vidim da li ima na nekim drugim screamima, a nema sad niko ne huste zato što je... Zato što je ovaj...
Nedelja.
Nije zbog nedelje, nego zato što je...
8 sati.
FCS granic. Ne znam meni unit, a registrovan da sam na PC-u.
Na PC-u? PC?
Da. A piše mi da sam kontrover.
Pa to je ako ja budem na odbor screamove, pošto ja imam elitka, moraš mrti da budeš na konzoli.
Scream se u...
Jo, nemoj to maliti. Tu screamovi, brate, ono... Nema ni 20 ljudi.
5 moving. Evo open. Ne, hoćeš te?
Ajde.
Igra Džema Thomas.
Thomas HD. Ajde.
Ne, di mi je pickaxe. Nisam promijenio. Ma samo sljedeće sezone da dodaju
Ti ne kupiš Harley Hitter?
A?
Što ne kupiš Harley Hitter?
Ma ne da mi se, ne da mi se, iskreno.
Aj gitaš meni, ne moraš Trevisa, možeš.
Ne mogu brate, čuvaj za Battle Pass, imam 1100 V-Bucksa.
A pa možeš da uplatiš još. Zato što imaš on.
To uplaćujem za onaj hitn Travis Watcher. Ako su vratili hitter, mislim očekujem da će i Travis. Koliko košta onaj... Čekaj, koliko košta onaj account sa 30.500 V-Bucks?
Ne znam.
To kupim sljedeće sezone, giftam tebi jedan skin, kupi meni za main, giftam teammate-u. Ne. Ja samo ne znam koga ćemo mi za teammate.
Ma, najlakše je naći nekog za teammate-a.
Ne znam, ja bi možda probao sa Alexom ili da možda Srećko.
Leđi tako. A Srećko ne igra džabet. Pitaću ga sutra
Pa,
ko igra.
bude comebacku, aj sutra ga pitamo ono.
Da, ali mora on da igra na kontroleru, ne može on na loše.
Pa, ako comebacka na raspustu.
Na raspustu, a će. Bož ja, brate, na raspustu, ako ne stignem za čempiona, onda ne.
Ili da nađem, što nećeš Saku na tamo?
Zato ne želim s njim. Ne treba nam kompjuter.
Ne treba nam, nama treba samo igrač koji treba da nas prati. I to je to. Nama ne treba...
Treba nam igrač koji igra na konzoli.
Da. Nama ne treba igrač ona koji ima skilla. Mislim treba nam. Ono.
Nokan.
Više nam treba igrač koji se... 29. Dolazi ti novi vek, 29 sam hitao.
Ma dobro, ubit ću ih ja slučilo. Dead.
Nice. Mislim sljedeću sezonu mi možemo i Cash Cup i FNC da igramo. Samo da ono hitamo čampion i ti ja i to. A znaš šta je poenta? Mi idemo, ako budemo išli na rekreativno, to je dobrih 7 dana koje mi nećemo.
Pa šta?
Pa, iskušaj onda. Ja idem, verovatno, negdje oko avgust. A odigrat će se 2 hita dok ja ne budem bio tu. FNCS-a. Ako mi budemo uopšte bili champ, ja ne znam, mislim da ću ići negdje. Ovaj o tom potom, vidjet ćemo.
Poneš PlayStation, napad, daj.
Najte. Onda na more i nosim PlayStation.
Pa da. Pa je Extroer nosio kompjuter. Zajdi kompjuter nosiš na more.
Jak Extroer.
Imaš ovo.
Udoj.
Čovjek otišu na more i nosi kompjuter. Koji jenca.
Koji brat. Ma de, ići ću neku prodam onaj Game Pub.
Dobar Game Pub.
Ma da, taj Game Pub, odeš tu. Možeš da igraš kako se zove... Imaš shift da mi daš na ovom accountu? Na svom accountu. Preko kompa, samo ponesem kontroler. I to ću raditi. Poneću kontroler.
Dobro, gdje ti ideš ako budeš išao?
Po Grčku.
Ne vjerujem da tamo ima.
Ma. Imaš u Solunu sigurno neko.
A dobro.
Imaš minije da mi daš, možda?
Imam 6 minija.
Pošto nemam shield cijelo gema, ja.
Evo ti ovo, i evo ti ovo.
Imam big.
Dobro, ako stekaš bigove imaš u ovoj kući, pošto ja već imam 3 biga.
Aj, stekam ja bigove.
Imam isto već 3 biga.
Koliko imaš mehanizma?
2. Da ja danas igrao s Ribenom, 7 kilova imali. Nismo uopšte rašli
Ribedom?
Kaže, meni je vidio da će da budemo, hoćeš da budemo duo, ja mu kažem, a ne mogu, Viktor mi je duo.
Šta si mu to rekao?
Brate, ono...
Samo da ne bi bio s njim.
Da. Ali inače, ja i ti smo godine, si rekao juče da će da budemo duo.
Vidjet ćemo sljedeće sezone, moramo prvo da odigramo. I onda ćemo da vidimo. Tvoj makeshift. Ava, imam mechanical bow. Samo ću ti reći, epic pump, imam 310 gold imam.
Aj mi upgradeš nešto.
Možeš, prvo sebi da upgrade i bacim bandažu na tebe. Svak sam upgradean mechanical bow. I čekaj na ovaj big. Čekaj, big uzmi. Mechanical bow imam. Ja nisam popao big, ja sam glup ko noć. Hoće probamo se Ribedom za trio? Maybe.
Ne.
Šta misliš da probaš?
Pa jest. Iskreno.
Ne znam sad s kim. S Matijom? Ne.
Aha. Šta, ne dođi samo, ono da igramo, da budemo trio sa Čupapi i Munjahanjo, ono.
Dođi. Skitao sam te najjače. Aj nešto, imam još 203 golda, mogu da ti upgradam šta hoćeš.
Aj, upgradaš mi... Ovo u epic.
Znači uzmi taj moj i ja sam ti upgradao.
Ne, uzmi ti ovaj tvoj. Ovaj tvoj je nešto I'm skill, znači. Evo si. Ti ne promeniš ime?
Ma nemam pojma. Ovo mi je nešto OG. Daj mi skilla. Nešto random znaju ZZ.